Full disclosure, this story isn't for the faint of heart. What I'm about to tell you is the story of a little boy who, for 65 years, had no name. A child who was found discarded in a cardboard box on a cold February morning in 1957, becoming one of America's most haunting unsolved mysteries. In the outskirts of Philadelphia, along a secluded stretch of Susquehanna Road, a discovery would shake a city to its core and launch one of the longest-running investigations in American history. For decades, he was known only as the boy in the box, or America's unknown child, a small malnourished boy whose death would haunt investigators for generations. This is a story about a community's relentless pursuit of justice, about advances in forensic science that would finally give this little boy his name back, and about the dark secrets that someone has kept hidden for over 6 decades. I'm Keith Baxter, and today we're diving into the heartbreaking case of Joseph Augustus Zarelli, the boy who spent more time without his name than with it. But before we begin, I need to warn you, this story contains details of child abuse and death that some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
On a cold February morning in 1957, Philadelphia's tranquil outskirts harbored a secret that would haunt the city for over 6 decades. A discovery that would become one of America's most heartbreaking unsolved mysteries, and earn a tragic moniker, the boy in the box. February 25, 1957. A young college student was driving along Susquehanna Road in Fox Chase, Philadelphia, when something caught his eye. In a wooded area, partially concealed by brush, lay a cardboard box. Inside was something no one should ever have to find. The body of a small boy, naked, badly bruised and wrapped in a plaid blanket. The student, fearing involvement with the police due to his young age, didn't report his discovery. It wasn't until February 26 that a local trapper named Frederick Benonis made the same gruesome finding and finally alerted authorities. The delay would prove costly in the investigation that followed. When police arrived at the scene, they found themselves facing a haunting tableau. The box, originally used to house a bassinet from J.C. Penney, contained the body of a boy estimated to be between 4 and 6 years old. He was malnourished, weighing only 30 pounds, and showed signs of recent bathing. His hair had been crudely cut, with clumps still clinging to his body, suggesting this was done shortly before or after his death. The child's body bore the marks of prolonged abuse. Multiple bruises covered his small frame, and medical examiners would later determine he had suffered blunt force trauma. His hands and feet were wrinkled, indicating he had been submerged in water for an extended period before death. The Philadelphia Police Department launched what would become one of their most extensive investigations. They printed over 400,000 flyers featuring the boy's post-mortem photograph, distributed them across the city, and even included them in gas bills. The case received widespread media attention, yet no one came forward to identify the child. The boy's description was detailed: blue eyes, light brown or blonde hair, and several small scars on his body, including one under his chin and on his left ankle. He wore no clothing when found, but the blanket he was wrapped in provided a potential clue, a distinctive plaid pattern that investigators hoped someone might recognize. As investigators worked tirelessly to identify the boy, several theories emerged. One of the most promising involved a foster home in nearby New Jersey. A woman claimed she recognized the blanket as similar to ones used at the home, but this lead, like many others, ultimately led nowhere. Another significant lead came from a psychic who directed police to a foster home run by Arthur and Catherine Nicoletti in Frankfort, Philadelphia. While the couple had indeed taken in foster children, no evidence linked them to the unnamed boy. Perhaps the most thoroughly investigated theory involved the Good Stevens home, a foster home run by Arthur and Catherine Nicoletti in Frankfort, Philadelphia. Several witnesses came forward claiming they had seen a boy matching the victim's description at the home. However, extensive investigation and interviews with former residents and staff members failed to produce any concrete evidence linking the home to the case. In 2002, a woman identified only as M came forward with a startling claim. She alleged that her abusive mother had purchased the boy, named Jonathan, from his birth parents in the summer of 1954. According to M, the boy was subjected to severe physical and sexual abuse for 2.5 years, before being killed in a fit of rage after vomiting in the bathroom. While investigators found her story credible due to specific details she provided, including the boy's eating habits and the circumstances of his death, they couldn't definitively prove or disprove her account. The woman's mental health history and the passage of time complicated efforts to verify her claims. As technology advanced, so did the investigation. In 1998, the boy's body was exhumed for DNA testing, though the results provided limited new information. Isotope analysis of his teeth and bones suggested he had spent most of his life in the Philadelphia area. In 2019, genetic genealogy, the same technique that helped solve the Golden State Killer case, was employed. This breakthrough technology would finally provide answers to questions that had haunted investigators for decades. On December 8, 2022, Philadelphia Police Commissioner Danielle Outlaw announced what many thought impossible. The boy in the box had finally been identified as Joseph Augustus Zarelli, born on January 13, 1953. Through genetic genealogy and painstaking detective work, investigators were able to locate and test DNA from relatives on both his maternal and paternal sides. The results confirmed the boy's identity with 100% certainty. Joseph came from a working-class Philadelphia family. His birth certificate listed his father as Augustus J. Zarelli and his mother as Mary Elizabeth Abel. Both parents are now deceased, and investigators have been careful about revealing too much information about living relatives to protect their privacy. The identification answered one crucial question but left many others unanswered. Who was responsible for Joseph's death? Why did no one report him missing? How did he end up in that box on Susquehanna Road? For 65 years, Joseph Augustus Zarelli was known only as America's unknown child. His case became one of the nation's oldest unsolved murders and changed how missing children cases are handled in Philadelphia and beyond. The case led to improvements in how unidentified bodies are documented and investigated. It also highlighted the importance of maintaining evidence for future testing, as advances in technology might provide answers years or even decades later. The VDOC Society, a group of forensic experts who work on cold cases, took a particular interest in the boy in the box case. They helped keep it in the public eye and provided valuable expertise during the investigation. The investigation continues today, with police still seeking answers about who was responsible for Joseph's death. While the statute of limitations has expired for most crimes associated with the case, there is no statute of limitations for homicide in Pennsylvania. Throughout the decades-long investigation, the people of Philadelphia never forgot about the boy in the box. The city's medical examiner's office maintained custody of the case file, and caring individuals ensured his grave at Ivy Hill Cemetery was always maintained. A headstone at his grave reads America's unknown child, though it will likely be updated now that we know his name. Regular visitors still leave toys and flowers, showing that even after all these years, Joseph's story continues to touch hearts. The resolution of Joseph's identity demonstrates the power of modern forensic techniques, particularly genetic genealogy. This method has revolutionized cold case investigation, providing hope for countless other unsolved cases. The case also shows the importance of preserving evidence and never giving up, no matter how much time has passed. Technologies that didn't exist when Joseph was found ultimately helped reveal his identity. The boy in the box case taught investigators valuable lessons about child abuse investigations, evidence preservation, and the importance of public engagement in solving crimes. It also highlighted the need for better systems to track missing children, systems that thankfully exist today. Modern child protection services and Amber Alerts might have prevented Joseph's death or at least led to a quicker identification. His case serves as a reminder of how far we've come in protecting children while also showing how much work remains to be done. While we now know Joseph's name, many questions remain unanswered. Who was responsible for his death? Why wasn't he reported missing? What occurred in the final days and hours of his life? Did other family members know what happened to him? Investigators continue to work on these questions, hoping to provide complete closure to this tragic case. The Philadelphia Police Department maintains an active investigation into Joseph's death. While many potential suspects are likely deceased, investigators hope that knowing his identity might lead to new information about his final days. They continue to interview family members and follow up on new leads, determined to uncover the full truth about what happened to Joseph Augustus Zarelli. The identification of Joseph Zarelli represents a significant breakthrough, but it's not the end of the story. Investigators still seek justice for the young boy who suffered such a tragic fate. Anyone with information about Joseph's life or death is encouraged to contact the Philadelphia Police Department's homicide unit. Even the smallest detail could help solve this decades-old mystery. The boy in the box case reminds us that behind every unidentified victim is a real person with a name, a family, and a story. Joseph Augustus Zarelli was not just a mystery to be solved. He was a child who deserved to live, to play, to grow up, and to be loved. The identification of Joseph Augustus Zarelli marked the end of one chapter in this tragic story, but the search for justice continues. His case serves as both a testament to investigative persistence and a reminder of humanity's capacity for both cruelty and compassion. As we remember Joseph, we must also remember the countless other unidentified victims still waiting for their names to be known and their stories to be told. Every cold case represents a family waiting for answers and justice waiting to be served. If you found this story compelling and want to learn more about similar cases, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue bringing these important stories to light. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on the case, or suggesting other cold cases you'd like us to cover. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest uploads. Thank you for watching, and remember, every victim deserves to have their story told.